welcome everybody. Welcome to the Great Ape Debate. How is everybody doing tonight? Maybe. I see you got the suit on.
Hi.
I
Yeah,
got
I'm
the suit.
ready. I'm ready.
We are
How
all
you guys
ready to
doing? Happy Thursday.
So, we have a lot planned today, and so we should just jump right into it. We should just
Yeah.
jump right into it. So, as you can see on the agenda, here's what we have planned today. Today, we're going to be going over the ApeCoin Special Council nominees. We'll be reading out who is running for election, and we also have 6 people that will be joining us today live to talk about their platform and what they hope to do on the Great Ape Debate. So, if you see on your left hand side, we have Jmart, we have Gerry, we have Snowflake, Ape G, Bored.eth, Badteeth. Jmart she's a mutant ape holder. She works at CoinDesk, and she was not able to make it. However, we did get a chance to sit down and we got to do a pre-recorded interview. So we're gonna start with Jmart first. Here is her interview.
I am currently the head of commercial product at CoinDesk and previously working on the commercial product team at the Washington Post. I love to bring ideas to life and figure out processes and put structure into place in order to help scale teams and businesses. I describe myself as a domain expert in media monetization, so I feel like I have a pretty unique perspective on how to bridge the gap between Web 2 and Web 3, which will become increasingly important as the community builds out use cases to increase ApeCoin distribution and partnerships. I would say the piece of my background that's most relevant for ApeCoin Council is the ability to review and provide feedback and advise on proposals and serve as a mentor to help implement those as well. I have a lot of experience scaling businesses beyond the 0 to 1 point. I'm capable of working through the idea phase all the way through execution and implementation. ApeDAO is a relatively young organization right now, so I see a lot of opportunity to be able to make an impact there and to apply my experience. There's a lot I would love to get done if elected. The primary focus should really be on resolving the challenges that are related to communication and transparency right now. I'd love to work with the community and the council to define a communication strategy and set up a framework necessary to operationalize that. And it's also just critical to fostering a community that's trusting, that's loyal, and ultimately is going to continue to encourage participation and involvement from all of the holders going forward. I see that as very core and foundational, and there's value in implementing an effective comm strategy for the long-term health of the org, and then also I see it as an immediate benefit for the community as well.
Next up, we do have Gerry, and I see that Gerry has joined us on stage, and so we're gonna introduce Gerry for those of you who don't know. Gerry, how is it going? How are you?
Hi, Gerry.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me here.
Thanks for coming
Thank
on.
you for being here.
I love everything you have going on. First of all, I just want to say your background, the Mutant Cartel sweater, the skateboards. I see you got the orange beanie that just probably came in the mail in the last week or so. But I see you're ready and decked out for ApeCoin and apes in general. So really awesome setup you got going on there.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's a work in progress. I have a couple more out there too. There wasn't room for everything, but it's building out.
Awesome. Okay, so Gerry, let's jump into it. I know you mentioned, and I've seen a lot of your efforts in recent weeks on educating people about staking, and so I wanted to start there with you. Tell us more about that and the education front and the importance that you think that that's required in ApeCoin DAO and for the wider ape ecosystem to educate people on staking.
or in everything. Yeah. Educating people on pretty much everything that's going on is important. And that one in particular came out, and I felt like there was a little bit of confusion and didn't feel like anything was happening too quickly. As in um, the platforms, it felt like there weren't enough platforms that were going to be available, like when staking went live, for people to feel comfortable. And then, I didn't want people to feel FOMO or any of that, so I wanted to make sure that everybody had the tools. And I'm old, so I believe that knowing is half the battle. and really, it just keeps us safe. Security is really important to me. I hang out with a lot of the guys from Boring Security, and it's just when there's a loss for one of us, there's a loss for everybody, and I wanted everybody to stay safe. So I just figured, jumped in, and I made a video, and I made that little training document, and then I just made myself available for everybody to reach out to. And anybody listening, just feel free to reach out anytime, and I'll walk you through the steps.
Yeah, and just so for the listeners and watchers, it's NFT Gerry Gerry. Is that correct for your Twitter handle?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to ask, what's been the feedback so far, and what's been the response of the education, and are a lot of people reaching out, and how is that effort going?
I've had quite a few people. I've never made a YouTube video, so that was my first YouTube video, and it has about, this morning I think it had like 1,700 views. So I think people are, responding well, and I have a lot of people who just reach out and say, like, thank you for making the video, and they don't even like ask any questions, so that's good. But I have a lot of people who actually reach out and they're like, can you help me out? And I can either help them on Twitter, or they jump into our Discord or whatever. But yeah, man, the feedback has been pretty positive. I haven't had any negative feedback from it at all. It seems like people have been it worked. I mean, the goal was just to be able to show people all of the different options, and it's a great tool, and I think it's the safest one personally. So it's good that people have that extra little tool. And my favorite thing is that I've seen people like in our Discord or in others that will just throw the documents at other people that are asking questions, or they'll answer the questions. People who were asking me questions last week are now answering those same questions for other people, and that's really what it's all about. Just getting that organic growth, and the just getting the message out there, just trying to help everybody.
Yeah, the power of community. Now people are answering
Absolutely.
the question, they learned and everything. Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing.
So Gerry, I wanted to ask, you're running for special counsel for ApeCoin DAO. When did that idea first surface in your mind of like, hey, maybe I should do this?
Whatever day they announced that there was going to be an election, whenever they announced that, I was like, yeah, I'm doing that. Absolutely, 100%. I didn't have any delusions that I would be in the contention for actually winning, but I was absolutely going to throw my hat in the ring.
Awesome. And what's the inspiration behind that? And what do you hope to do if elected?
I love our community, and I think that I can help to further the mission and help spread awareness in ApeCoin. I've been spreading awareness in just different methods of digital congregation since maybe 1993, with helping my friends sign on to BBSs, and then MIRC and LimeWire and Napster and MySpace, and all the different ways that we've found to digitally congregate and come together with each other over the years. And it's slowly progressed into things like Facebook and Instagram, and it's here we are. We're now about to approach this next evolution, which I find to be just absolutely fascinating. Like right now, you see so many people participating in like spaces and Discord, but we want this experience, being able to face to face just share these digital experiences. And I think that ApeCoin will be the foundation for the metaverse that we see in the next year or two, or it'll be a large part of it. And I want to be able to kind of like further that and help expand it to other communities, and just see how we can help move the mission forward together. It's not really about me, it's just me trying to help and be a part of it. So smarter people like Bored.eth or Bored G, like you said, Adam earlier, Young Buddha, just Leor. I'm going to be definitely following some cues and taking in some input. Jmart, Novo. I mean, there's just so many. I'm honored just to be among them, to be honest with you.
That's awesome. Gerry, tell us more about your background. So, what in a past life, let's say before Web3, what were you? When did you get into NFTs? Tell people a little bit more about like where your expertise and what kind of knowledge you're bringing to the special council if
Sure.
elected.
Sure. So my background, I've been in computers since, like I said, like 1993. My computers I mean, my background was computers all the way through the military, and I worked at Dell Computers. I've almost always been an instructor of some sort, somebody spreading the word and the knowledge onto others. And eventually that, I've done a lot of jobs, bartending and things like that in between, but I've always been rooted in computers and graphics. And we got into crypto in 2020, actually. It wasn't even that long ago. It was February 2020. And it was actually my wife this entire experience is not me. I mean, my wife and I sit here next to each other. We don't have a desk. We have a table. We've turned this giant table into, our co-workstation, and we sit here all day together, and we work together, and we do the same thing. And she's right here with me side by side, like, every step of the way it has been. And she's the reason that we got into crypto to begin with. I knew that we needed to get into some hard assets when the lockdown started and things like that. And we just we saw what was about to happen. So we decided, okay, let's get into a lot of things. We bought a lot of different things, solar panels and stuff like that. I wanted to buy a bunch of gold, and I went down to buy some gold from my local gold dealer who I see on a weekly basis. And he wouldn't sell me any because, everybody was freaking out. And I ended up messaging her, and I was like, what do you want to do? And our decision was to sell him all of our gold and our silver, and we traded all of it for ETH because she had just read The Infinite Machine by Camille Russo, and just a phenomenal book. If anybody hasn't read it, read the Infinite Machine. And we were hooked. We just started looking into Ethereum and started stacking, and then we got into, we're validators, we're stakers, we're part of the ETH staker community, and we just became fascinated with all things crypto, but mostly Ethereum. So, we are definitely Ethereans. And then Bored Apes came along, and we discovered the Bored Apes. And we weren't terribly into NFTs. We were a little bit into one cool project that I look forward to working with in the future called Bogu with Andrew Traxey. And then a guy named Adjudicator brought me over. Him and a man named Nylock brought me into the Bored Ape Yacht Club, and I've been hooked ever since. From the minute that I was in the Bored Ape Yacht Club, all I wanted to do was just be a part of it and kind of push the mission forward, and just trying to be a part of this phenomenal community. And I found my place. It was a weird place. My place was making banners, which I hadn't ever done anything like that before. The first time somebody asked me to make one, I had to ask what the dimensions were for Twitter, and dusted off Photoshop and played around a little bit. And next thing you know, I made a whole bunch of those. And that's kind of how people knew me, was the guy who made banners. Anybody who ever asked for one, I made one. I didn't charge anything. And I just got to meet so many amazing people that way. Like, just through that, it was like this conduit into the community. And it was rewarding. And I've been telling people ever since, I'm like, the key to this, people ask all the time, people who are new, and I'm like, just participate, just be a part of it. Just the best advice I can give anybody is just to participate and do what find where you fit in. I didn't know I'd love making banners. I just did something that, it felt like people appreciated. And if you can find something that you love doing that other people appreciate, that might be a good place to start with your community. And it did. It started there. And then I started forming some meetups with people and hanging out with people like Captain Trippy and Taylor and all of the people that I hang out with in Surreal. We formed a whole community around it called Surreal Apes, and we just hang out and just discuss and brainstorm the future of the metaverse and the Bored Apes and how we can all contribute. And we all end up contributing in our small ways. So it's community building at its finest. It's fantastic. I love it. I love this community so much.
Yeah, that's crazy. I have a question, like talking about the other side and metaverse. So what do you see is the future of the other side in the metaverse? Like, if you could give your description or what you would like to see.
I would like to see in 2 years people making real world money in the metaverse. I
Yeah.
want to see people. I think that we have an automation problem. This is jumping like, years in the future, but there's a path. There's a very clear path to get there, and I think that there are people who will need jobs, and everybody just assumes all the jobs that people are going to have to come from out here, and they don't. There's a lot of jobs that are going to take place in this new metaverse that we're building, especially if we want a billion, active users. There are going to be plenty of jobs inside, and I think that, especially with, like I said, automation, retail workers and truck drivers, soft skilled jobs, we have this opportunity to kind of usher them in softly at first. I left off the last thing that I've been doing for the last few years because it's boring, but the last decade I've been working in insurance, and I'm good at marketing and bringing people in and motivating people to listen to on a subject they might not want to, but there's a real opportunity in the metaverse for, I picture, at least in a year, the next time the World Cup comes around, I picture all of us, like, one of my buddies being like, I hope Neymar's in there. I really do, because I want somebody to text me and say, Neymar just scored, get in here. And maybe I'm waiting at the airport to go to Ape Fest or go meet, do a meetup in New York or something. And I'm sitting at the airport and I'm just able to push a button with my buddy and just drop in the stadium next to all of my friends, and everybody's wearing their skin. And we're just watching the game together, and you hear the roar of the crowd, and we just have this experience that we're all sharing together. And there are so many different ways to kind of like, scale that up and down and sideways to do different things and have different experiences that people can share that are valuable to them. And then you can build on that. There are, all these different ways that we can build in consumables and services. And if we're really focused on consumables and services, and the root is in ApeCoin, the sky is the limit. I mean, it's not even the sky anymore. We can create new skies on new planets all around just all over the place. Everybody will have the ability to build on this ODK and beyond. And I think we're just barely scratching the surface. And like I said, I've seen this time and time again with the different ways that we migrate from one way that we digitally congregate to another. And what's always true is the next way is the way that everybody will get into. Everybody, I mean, how many people said they weren't going to get into Facebook or telephones? I mean,
Everything,
it goes all the way back, everything. And this is the next thing that people will be late to, but eventually we'll have a billion users, and we'll all be in there. And it's not just going to be, people wearing their monkey. It won't just be that. It'll be people wearing themselves. It'll be people just, wearing whatever. I picture Ready Player One. Go watch the first 15 minutes. And that's a lot of inspiration for me. So,
yeah. Well, Gerry, you've been a wonderful interview so far. I'm going to play the electoral music. I'm going to give you the last 30 seconds. Look directly at the camera and tell everybody that's watching what Gerry will do for the special council if elected. So let's cue the music.
I'm Gerry, and I want to make you a part of it. Like, my goal is to make you a part of the decisions in this thing that I just described. I want everybody to be a part of it, and I want everybody to feel comfortable being a part of it. So that's what I want to do, and I'm going to make that very apparent very soon, that it's not that difficult to be a part of this movement and this thing that we're building. Like, everybody can be a part of this. So,
Amazing. Gerry, thank you so much for coming on. Have a good rest of the night.
Thank you, Gerry.
thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Bye.
We do have Bored Ape G joining us. For those of you who don't know,
G.
he's a bit of a
real
G.
G.
A real G, like Gucci G. Yeah, so let's welcome everybody to the stage, Bored Ape G.
Yo,
Bored
Guys.
Ape, how's it going, my friend?
You know, I saw you guys were looking so dapper, so I had to throw a blazer
you know?
on. You know, gotta try to. And got my. Yeah, I thought Snowflake might be having issues, so let's just jump on. So you guys have been pretty busy.
Awesome. I love that you are dressing the part today, because this is the Great Ape Debate. Bored Ape G, let's start with the basics. For if anybody doesn't know who is in the audience, who you are, tell us a bit about you, your background, and what got you into NFTs.
Yeah, so I guess specifically NFTs, I started Nifty Gateway, so art, right? More art than it was Bored Apes. Then eventually, Bored Apes, the sandbox. But Apes, I didn't mint it, but I saw the day after. But you know what? I didn't know what PFPs were back then. So, but then a week so eventually I bought it, and 2 weeks later my first ape, which was at 0.4, which was, at the time I was like, wow, this is massive. And it's just been an amazing ride, like ever since. Meeting a lot of people, and firmly, like I think the crew I roll with is the Hip Hop Ape Trait Group. So they're always very supportive of what I do.
That's amazing. And I ask every candidate this question. When did you first hear about the ApeCoin DAO Special Council? And when was the first idea in your mind that, hey, I want to run for this?
No, I'm really actively involved in the DAO. So I always had the idea that, this is going to be something that I wanted to do. But I think what really hit it home was in the summer, when extension of that 6-month contract. It was September, and it was blamed as if it was the community that we didn't do the extension. So then that really solidified, that we clearly need more leadership in the council. Not that the people there are not leaders, but effectively, until we could build out, they're going to be our operators. And so I just couldn't sit idly by to see that. And I actually did start. I posted an a draft AIP idea, or in general, but how we can make sure we don't have an extension. So it was like in the back of my mind. But once that extension happened, I was ready. I was waiting to apply for the special council, because I knew that there's going to be an opportunity.
Awesome. Okay, so I know this could be an intimidating question, but I'm just saying, let's just take it easy. But what do you bring to the table? Like, why you should win these elections?
No, I think that's definitely a fair point. And there's 3 special council seats going up for grabs, right? So I'm just looking to fill like the most OG Bored Ape. It's not the domain expert, let's say in gaming or something like that. It's a very specific seat, which is to operationalize this DAO, which means to build out the infrastructure that I think we need. A combination of things, my dedication to the DAO, clearly involved. If you look at the nomination profiles, I clearly have the longest for anyone to go read. But it's not just because it's application. It's just that I'm so passionate, and I have a lot of knowledge of what we need to do, where we are as a DAO, or where we need to go. Because I bring that professional background and skill set. Like my professional Los Angeles healthcare system, local one here. So I've grown that over the past 8 years. And then on the NFT, DAO side, that's really unique, is I actually founded a DAO that is ready. So it's a very unique perspective that I can bring, and that's why I can understand why, some things that Cartan, the administrator, might push back. Doesn't make sense to me, or same law firm at least that set up a Bitcoin DAO. So there's just a unique perspective that I do bring, that's very suited for this one board seat that I think needs to be somebody who can operate that.
Awesome. And this other question I asked to Gerry as well. But what do you see the metaverse being? Like, what is the metaverse? What can we expect to be the metaverse in the next years?
Well, even the Yuga Lab founders, right, are thinking there's even multiple
Yeah.
metaverses, and we hope that other side, is going to be a leader. So for us, specifically drawing it back to ApeCoin, right? How do we make sure, or how do we help ensure that ApeCoin be token of choice for our metaverse other side? We know that's going to be like a given, right? But how do we spread it out to the other communities where they know that they can build on this? Because at the end of the day, we are all, that's important for us. If we could show the other communities that, hey, just because we're ApeCoin, one, we're not Yuga Labs. ApeCoin DAO, right? It runs separately from Yuga Labs. Now with ApeCoin, we top or around us, and it's okay. It doesn't mean that you're going to be tied to Yuga Labs. We run separately, and it's just that there's advantages to working with us. So I think that's the future that I can see, that we have the space. Other communities know that ApeCoin runs separately, and you can work together with us, and we can find ways to determine what our synergies are, so that we can really effectively utilize given the structure that we've got.
Right on. And it sounds like you have a lot of professional experience and a lot of digital NFT experience and DAO experience. So it's kind of a trifecta. And Gerry shouted you out as well as one of the very smart people that are part of Bored Ape Yacht Club, Mutant Ape Yacht Club. We're both Mutant Ape Yacht Club members.
Thank you. And I got to shout out Gerry too. Like, he's been really showing out for the community and trying during this during this election campaign. So really appreciate him all the time connecting with all the nominees. Sorry to interrupt you there.
No, you're absolutely good. The floor is yours. That's why you are the guest. I wanted to quickly say, Bored Ape G, I'm going to play the music. Okay, you have 30 seconds as we wind this down. Look at everybody at home and tell them what you will do if elected to the special council. So let's get the music going. The floor is yours, Bored Ape G.
Well, to the ApeCoin community, a vote for me, it's going to be a vote to operationalize this DAO as soon as possible. Not a year from now, not another one of them. And if you vote for me, it's because we're going to get things done, get shit done immediately in the next 6 months that people are going to think is not possible. So for us to get to become an elite DAO, I'm going to be the current special council members and together with our community to make it happen. So I really appreciate it, and thanks for your consideration. Let's go get it, apes.
Thanks for coming on Bored Ape G. Have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Bye.
Bye.
The next nominee in backstage. Do you want to quickly introduce them before I play
one
this?
sec. First, I just want to say, guys, Diamond is not gonna be on today. I'm sorry, but he's not feeling so good, so that's why it's only me and Atare. But don't worry, just gonna be back next week. So kiss to Diamond, and yeah, let's move to the next guest. That I'm very, very excited about the next guest. I know everyone knows him. So there's not so much to say, just to say the next guest is Bored.eth. Let's welcome him.
Bored, Elon Musk, or Bored? I see you have the overlay going. How's it going, my friend?
Very good. I'm sorry Diamond couldn't make it, but you two are both plenty for me, and I'm very excited to chat with you all.
First, I have to ask.
Same.
Where did you get that overlay done? That's fascinating. I love it.
There's a team doing Snapchat lenses, so I gave them my avatar, and they made this extremely creepy looking face that is inspired by the movie Tron. So this is now how I can be a bit more personable and do video interviews, and we'll see how long it sticks. I'm somewhat bummed that I don't have the the ape avatar like everybody else is using. I do have apes. I do like to flash them on occasion, but I also felt like a good way to stand out during an election was to have a different looking profile photo. So forgive me for not representing the BAYC community, but I try to do it every day in other ways.
I mean, I've seen your tweets, and I know you're a big member of the ecosystem. So I think many people are well aware of that. Let's talk about the election. So I asked this to everybody. When did you first hear about the special council? And when did the thought first come to your mind that, hey, I think I want to run for that?
I was aware of it basically the day it was announced, and funny enough, I had dinner the next day with a large group of people at a video game conference, and one of those people was a member of the special council. So I've had a pretty good relationship and conversation with two people on the council. Have gotten a sense for what the job looks like. One of them, I'll give her a shout out, Maria, was one of the reasons that I felt inspired to run. She was very encouraging of that as well, and have been tracking it along the way. And other than just being aware of the council and the ApeCoin community, I've been participating with the unofficial Ape Comms team, helping them get the word out about the special council elections, and of course AIPs, most importantly, by hosting Twitter Spaces. And I've been doing that for the last 4 or 5 months. And if things don't work out with the special council, I plan on returning to help that team. I did feel like it would be more appropriate to step down temporarily while running for this position, just to avoid any conflicts of interest.
Well, we definitely like that. You're thinking about all factors here. Bored, tell us a bit about your background, as much as you can share without, I know you're pseudonymous. Tell us a bit about your background and what you hope to bring to the special council if elected.
Yep, there's sort of two parallel realities. I've spent 9 years building this pseudonymous identity. I hope that I have earned the trust and reputation from many people who are part of the ApeCoin community and the internet at large. I'm more proud of not so much my following, the volume of the following, but the people that choose to follow me and engage with me. I'm having regular conversations over DM with people like Vitalik and Jack Dorsey. So I've built up a nice connection to people with power and influence. So it's more about depth than breadth for me. But more importantly than sort of the social media handle, which acts as a nice distribution mechanism, is the real world experience. So first of all, I did reveal my real identity, to be part of this process, just to ensure I'm not a serial killer or somebody nefarious. So that has been checked off the list. But in the real world, I spent over 10 years in the traditional video games industry. I worked for one of the most beloved Japanese game publishers in the world, helped launch some really storied franchises and titles, and bring people into new technologies, new communities, and a lot of that work was done sort of on the comms and the PR side. So for me, my focus in running for this position is really to focus on those two things, which is communications, like elevating all the great stuff that is happening in the ApeCoin community, bringing people into this ecosystem by talking about all those stories. And then I would say the majority of my sort of unique skill set and background is around gaming. So as a game developer, as a sort of a games industry expert, I think that gaming is the most obvious and most powerful path to providing utility for ApeCoin. And so I know that Yat, of course, serves on the special council, has deep gaming experience as well, especially out of Asia. I want to contribute to that as well. I'm meeting with game studios every single day. It's part of the work that I do. While I'm having those conversations, I want to bring people into the ApeCoin ecosystem. I want game developers to be building around what we're doing here. And I think I have a very unique skill set that can do this in a way that many others can't. So I'm definitely going with the angle of sort of a specialization and adding value to the council, not through necessarily breadth, but very deep expertise in one or two particular areas.
Awesome point. I just have a question about the other side. So since you have so much experience in gaming, etc., so where do you see the other side going, and what will be the implementation that you would put into it if you could give your part into the building of the other side?
Yeah, so I'll use like a real world gaming analogy that people might connect with. So if you think about something like a Grand Theft Auto or even a Fortnite, you've got this massive game world. People are hanging out inside of it. they're playing a game, obviously, as well. They're spending time with friends. A lot of this is done as pseudonyms as well, right? Gamer tags. So imagine if a 3D world in a video game also was an app store. So you have the world itself that the game creator developed. People are able to build inside of it and manipulate that and do different things inside that game world. But that game world also connects to other game worlds. So if I jumped into Fortnite, played that game, but then that game connected to Grand Theft Auto and that connected to Call of Duty, that's pretty much what I see the other side being. And I don't have any sort of inside intel on what its vision is going to be. But if you visualized an app store that you could play in and spend time in, I think that's very much where they're going.
Wow, amazing. Yeah.
Great answer. And I can tell there's a lot of experience and insight because you're part of the gaming industry. So just like all the other guest board, as we wrap this up, last 30 seconds are for you. I'm going to play the music, look straight into the camera and tell everybody why they should vote for board for special counsel. Let's cue the music.
Very official voice. So many people have made attempts to initiate an idea for ApeCoin, and they've hit a wall after going through the AIP process and some of the operations that are currently in existence. My joining the council is not necessarily going to materially impact my reach, my influence, or wealth. This isn't for me. But I think it's going to serve as an opportunity to give a voice to others, those who don't have distribution, those who don't have the same clout. So I want to help build consensus amongst the community and really just help elevate those builders who aren't necessarily getting a fair chance. So, for better or for worse, a DAO is got politics, right? You can hear the music behind me. It's a little bit of a popularity contest. I want to make sure that if I'm selected to be on the council, that I can give good ideas the chance to rise to the top, regardless of how popular the proposer is of an AIP or of somebody who wants to build for this ecosystem. And of course, if this does not work out and I do not get elected to the council, I very much plan on continuing to participate as an ApeCom's unofficial member and to support the DAO in many other ways. So thank you guys for the opportunity, and I hope that I can earn some people's votes today.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
That's been helping retweet some of this show as well. Board, have a good rest of your evening. Midori Land, it sounds like it's officially underway. We will be cutting to Midori Land in about 15 minutes. We do have two very special guests left. We have Zastrow Bradley Zastrow, and we have Badteeth. Let's start with Bradley. Let's introduce him and welcome him to the stage. Bradley, welcome.
Hi,
welcome.
Bradley.
Thank you very much for having me. Hopefully my audio is coming through. It was breaking up a little bit there before.
You are sounding loud and
hear
clear. Yeah, it's loud and clear so far.
Oh.
We'll let you know if anything happens. But
Awesome.
First of all, how's it going?
No, very well, thanks. Great listening into the show so far, and like I said, definitely appreciate the opportunity. Definitely some high caliber guests that I'm following.
So Bradley, let's start. Tell us a bit about yourself and your background before Web3. Let's start.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I guess maybe starting with TradFi. Basically, TradFi is a quick summary. Multinational career, mostly in the payments industry. Majority of that being with American Express. And kind of during that time, that's when I focused a lot on partnerships and governance. So I was I was a member on the board of directors of 3 of their joint ventures in Southeast Asia, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Philippines. And then also previously a member level with the Australian Institute of Company Directors. My accent throws people, but I am normally based out of Australia.
Interesting. Okay.
And so that's basically I've got obviously crypto, et cetera, as well. I can go into if you'd like as well.
So let's talk really quickly about when you got into NFTs.
Yeah, NFTs was actually around the first time I got into crypto. So 2017, it was CryptoKitties. I must admit, I unfortunately missed the CryptoPunks, which were just a few minutes before then, but I was fascinated with Crypto Kitties. I still think, as far as I know, I don't know if there's been anyone that's done a breeding mechanism that has kind of gamified the experience as well as Crypto Kitties. But nonetheless, that was really where I first got into NFTs, was back then. In 2017, I had started first in crypto, working with a community called Concourse Qs. So similar to, I guess, what we saw at the, there was a lot of bullshit ICOs that was coming out. So Concourse Q, we were kind of creating, I guess you could say, coverage reports, maybe for lack of a better word, on various ICOs, kind of calling out the BS or where maybe red, amber, green, I guess, traffic light patterns. And then from there, I started working for Dash Core Group in around December, and they were a contractor to the Dash coin. So for those that were around back then, they were at the time about a top 5 coin. They were a fork of Bitcoin, and really focused on being kind of, which is again, obviously where a lot of my experience came in from Amex. So was working for DCG there, or Dash Core Group. DCG also means other things, but Dash Core Group. So as an actual contractor to a DAO, having to put up proposals for our budgets, et cetera, as the global biz dev head.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe go ahead, please.
Yeah. Just have a question more about the adoption of ApeCoin. Like, what do you think the DAO can do to increase the adoption of ApeCoin and Web3 and other metaverses and the metaverse itself?
Yeah, no, I think that's where there's obviously a huge opportunity in being a payment nerd, of course. Part of my brain lights up with that. I think kind of two things really, maybe call it more tactical and maybe more strategic or longer term. On the tactical side, integration with BitPay and Coinbase Commerce is huge. They've already got a huge network of merchants that have already integrated them. And so what this means is we can leverage them really as a channel partner to then go and turn on these other merchants to accept ApeCoin. That's a lot lower hanging fruit and a lot more efficient than, say, going to a merchant one by one and trying to say, sign them up for, even crypto in general, let alone ApeCoin specifically. So tactically, that's what I would do to really start a lot of that adoption. And part of that then leads into maybe more of that kind of strategic bucket, which is, one of the best ways to really do that is to provide a value prop back to those merchants. And so, that's where I think there's opportunity for another contractor to come in to service the ApeCoin DAO, like a biz dev kind of team, if you will, provide them with a certain budget. Of course, obviously transparency, you have to report that, back to the community. But the real idea there is that they are then leveraging those channel partners to proactively then go and turn on that ApeCoin adoption. And part of that value prop can then be, what type of joint marketing opportunity. We've got great reach, obviously, through our comm channels. How do we leverage those in a more strategic way to help those merchants as we start to scale some of those merchants, or even before we do? How do we create a merchant directory, on the apecoin.com website? And again, we need to show love to those merchants. Building it and they will come is something that I think people thought was going to happen in 2017 and it didn't. So it's around kind of that value prop back to the merchants is where I see really, granted maybe simplistic way, but also the easiest way to really gain that adoption.
Awesome. So Bradley, like every other guest, as we wind this down, the last 30 seconds are yours. I'm going to play the music and look straight into the camera and tell everybody why they should vote for you for the special counsel. Cue the music. The floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you. Well, all right. Well, thank you again for the opportunity. And look, I think really, I believe in ApeCoin. I believe we've got huge potential, and I believe that the best way to realize that potential is through increased decentralization, communication, and proactive growth. Really, the Ape community is going to be best served with special council members that have that long experience in partnerships, governance, and that cuts across both TradFi and crypto. Looking forward to the opportunity and appreciate the consideration.
Bradley, have a good rest of your day.
So,
Thank you so much for coming on.
thank you for being here. Thank you.
Hey, thank you guys very much for the opportunity. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Badteeth, last but definitely not least. First of all, it was amazing meeting you in Miami.
Yes. Yeah.
How was your travel back home? Are you doing okay? Doing good?
Travel home wasn't too bad. Definitely it took a couple days to get back to full speed, but this election season has kicked that into gear without question. It was really cool to meet you both.
Yeah,
Likewise.
same
And
for me. Yeah.
I know you have you have a 288, which you can talk about as well. But I want to keep the focus first on special counsel. I asked this to
For sure.
everybody. When did you first hear about special counsel, and what prompted you to say, "Hey, I think I can do that, or I think I can do a good job for the community"?
I started, about 3 months ago. I was seeing a lot of people complain on Twitter about, lack of participation in the DAO, and nothing's happening and what's going on. A couple of the discords I'm in, people were wondering what was happening with staking and some of these other things that were going on. So I just started digging in because I felt like, okay, it's an amazingly talented group of people, and there's like not unlimited but incredible financial resources there. Why is this stuck? And so dug in, and it became pretty obvious pretty quickly that there just wasn't really any alignment around a mission as a whole. And actually, I started thinking about running because I was working on an AIP that I wanted to propose that makes sense in my world and kind of my past experience in culture-based sports. But I realized that, or I felt like I had something to contribute that could maybe help overall. So just started getting more involved and threw my hat in the ring.
Love to hear it. Maybe before we jump to your famous metaverse question, I wanted to ask you, Badteeth, tell us briefly about your background and what you hope to bring to special counsel so that the DAO can be what you envisioned it to be.
I'm a lifelong skateboarder. I dropped out of engineering school when I was 19 to move to California to skate. I had the opportunity to turn pro as a skateboarder in the mid 90s. And at the same time, I had co-founded a skateboarding video magazine called 411 Video Magazine that became a pretty big deal in the industry. And from there, wound up with a handful of different industry jobs around the trade association for the skateboarding industry, and worked at Street League Foundation, which was formerly the Rob Dyrdek Foundation, getting skate parks built, public-private partnership stuff in California. And at that time, had a friend that I sort of knew from the industry reach out and say, hey, we want you to consult on this Olympic bid for skateboarding and help organize the federation that would be governing skateboarding for the Olympics. So from about 2015 on, I spent 7 years working on putting the structure in place to help bring skateboarding to the Olympic Games in Tokyo last year. And pandemic comes, wound up on Clubhouse. Photography kind of drove me into NFT rooms and got lucky and minted Bored Apes, and here we are. Like it's been an insane opportunity. I've felt this way a couple times in my life. I think when I discovered computers as a kid, when I discovered photography, when I discovered skateboarding, and when I discovered hip hop, those were all like world-changing moments for me. And this one with NFTs in this world we're in right now, I have the benefit of being a little bit older, and I'm like, this is it. Like, we're actually at the epicenter of something that's going to change the world. So just super excited to be involved now with the ability to recognize sort of what's going on around us.
Wow. I mean, I think that the 2015 to, you said, until 2020, when you got the
2022. Yep.
2022. Okay. So that's an incredible story. I'm glad you got to share that. There's already some love from Fake Guy and Bored in the comments. I'm not sure if you can see it on your, but you're getting some love.
I'm not going to dare try and mess with the comments while I'm trying to concentrate right now. I'll check him out. It was nice to meet him in Miami as well.
Awesome. Maybe it's your favorite question. Please jump in.
Yeah, no, yeah, I love to talk about the other side, the metaverse, ApeCoin in general. I don't know, what do you see being the other side in the future? Sorry, there is.
You know,
Yeah.
Ape's set up to be the decentral layer that the metaverse can be built on. Like that is the intention of what ApeCoin is. And like I said, we have some of the brightest people in the entire world thinking about this right now. We have the technology at our disposal. We have resources to build, but right now we don't have much of a direction. So I just think that together we can figure out what that mission statement is, align the organization around that, build the working groups and structure we need to actually execute against that mission. And we can achieve anything. And that anything to me is to be the definition of what the greater metaverse is. There's all these metaverse definitions, but to me, the metaverse of the future is just the evolution of how we communicate in this world, across the world. So we're in a metaverse right now. Like, we're not in the same physical space, but we're occupying the same digital space. And as the technology gets better, as the experiences get more immersive, like, those things are going to make a huge difference on the way that people communicate moving forward. And other side, and actually ApeCoin can power all of that.
That's awesome. I've heard this a few times. There seems to be a lack of vision, or people are putting that as a problem statement out there, and they hope that they can at least steward that or help guide what that could look like. My question for you, Badteeth, is if you had to put a mission statement on the ApeCoin DAO, what would that be?
For me, it's again, it's about making other side the pinnacle of what this metaverse opportunity can be. But the main thing I want to emphasize is that my vision, any other person's singular vision, isn't what's important right now. It's actually aligning the people that hold ApeCoin around a central mission that we all believe in. Because the power of that is entirely greater than me saying, I want to do this, or whoever saying, I have a vision. It's me. It's all me. It's not me. Like, I can't do any of this without you and without the other holders of ApeCoin. So I actually put an AIP in pretty late last night that I've been working on about trying to create the structure. From a corporate background, you wait, right? Like, you're changing of the guard, there's going to be a new council. Let's see what happens, and then we'll work on this stuff. But that's kind of the beauty of a DAO, is that you don't have to wait on anything. You put ideas into the mix, people comment on them, refine them, we get it figured out, and we can vote on it. And if we decide it makes sense, we move forward. If we don't, we don't. But the only way to affect change in the situation we're in is to keep moving forward. So would really love anybody that wants to know where I'm coming from to check out that AIP idea that I posted last night under Badteeth in the forum, and let me know. Like, I'm here to help figure this out. I feel like my experience gives me a chance to work with people, bring people in that are passionate about what they do, and figure out a really good way forward.
Badteeth, that's incredible. Like every other guest, I'm going to cue the music. And
I'm so not into this. I appreciate I appreciate the effort. Like, I love the Great Ape Debate, but the campaigning part of this makes me so uncomfortable. It's insane.
Okay, we're not gonna do it for you. That's all good. I appreciate
it. My Genesis pieces finally paid off. Like, this is actually why Genesis is king, is that I didn't have to get up in front of the music and the flag and shill for votes. So if I have my Kagamis right now, oh my God, we would be so good. Speaking of which, when are they shipping? When do we get
January?
January, I believe. January, about a month out. Only about a month out.
I'm so excited.
Badteeth, you've been a great guest. Thank you so much for coming on. This concludes the Great Ape Debate. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We are not finishing the show just yet, though. Stick around, because I'm seeing the Discord. It's bumping right now. Midori Land is fully underway, so we're going to transition into that. Badteeth, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you,
Thanks for having
Badteeth.
me
It was
on.
awesome meeting you.
I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.